Gentlemen, what is good? It is Wednesday, July 16th. I'm your boy Cheats. This is the Black Baseball Mixtape Podcast. Yes, baby, we are back.
Back.
I'm excited, as always. Before I bring on our illustrious Wednesday night tonight, Wednesday night, not Thursday night, but Wednesday night guest, Lewis
Mhm.
Brinson. Got to thank our partners, as always, the Players Alliance, Rebellion Harvest Sunflower Seeds, Numbers Game Scorecards, Minority Prospects, who had a huge week. Shout out to everybody at Minority Prospects as well. RBG Baseball. Shout everybody out. I'm really, really excited about the second half of this season. But before we get into the second half of the season, I got to bring on my man Lewis Brinson to talk about the first half of the season, but more importantly, the week that was in the
Yeah.
ATL Hot Atlanta. Lou, you look good. You look like you've recovered. You look like your skin's glowing. You look fantastic. How are you doing, my man?
I'm good. I'm good. Like you said, great week. All-Star game was awesome once again. In the ATL, man, ludicrous. Quavo saw Quavo perform. Quavo done made a lot of money this past week. He was at the
We're gonna talk
boardroom.
about it. We're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was at
yeah,
the boardroom. He was at the players' party.
yeah.
He was everywhere, man. But made
Celebrity
it pretty
softball game.
ludicrous. Yep, celebrity softball game. So they were everywhere. It was cool to see that, and just MLB puts on a show every year, and it was great, man. Players Alliance, shout out to Players Alliance Game Changers event. That was awesome again.
Fantastic.
Once again, a lot more people this year for sure. Music was bumping. We were all partying. And the award ceremony part of it was awesome. But again, man, great week, All-Star week, man. A lot of stars out there, a lot of cool outfits, and I enjoyed my time once again. Can't wait for next year.
I can't wait for next year. We're gonna get into a lot of it because this type of apparatus, this type of week, is a week where you and I both were there.
Hmm.
We spent some time around each other, but I say that because I say there's a lot of people at All Star Week, and I know firsthand that all of their experiences were completely different. Like you went to your experience, being who you are, knowing who you know, going to where you went, being a former player is completely different than my experience of knowing who I know, going where I went, and not being a former player in many ways. And so we're going to talk about basically the differences and how, what you saw, what you didn't see, how that was.
Right.
Before I do that, I want to ask because I think it's no brainer. I think it's official. I think you can stamp it. But do you agree that MLB All Star Week is the absolute best week, like All Star Week of any professional sport? So, like the MLB All Star Game is
Hmm.
better than NBA All Star Weekend. It's better than obviously whatever they do in the NFL, the Pro Bowl. We don't even know anymore.
I don't even know what
But
they do
is
anymore.
MLB All Star Week and the presentation and the show that Major League Baseball puts on better recognition for All Stars than any other major sport?
That is a great question. I'm gonna just be biased here and say yes. I've never been to NBA All Star Weekend, so I can't speak from experience. But just watching it on TV and talking to people that have been to that event, I mean, NBA All Star is very, very famous. Celebrities show up left and right, no matter where it is. That's a kind of a big deal to show up to the NBA All Star Weekend. But I mean, MLB, the past 2 years that I've been in as a player in Miami in 2017, when I got a chance to be in the Futures game, just going to some festivities there, and obviously the cities that it has been in. I mean, it just so many things going on around the city. Again, I'm sure with the NFL, Pro Bowl, like I said, whatever they got going on nowadays, skills challenge, whatever they got going on, NBA with their skills challenge. That's a very exciting event. Everybody looks forward to the dunk contest. But I think people are getting more and more into the home run derby. Now, I think we need to stop changing the rules because I don't know the rules every year because we keep changing the rules and it's confusing me. So
Okay.
I think next year we should. I think we pick five guys. I know this is a little off topic, but I think we pick five guys and we go back to 10 outs. Just let these guys, because 513 foot or whatever foot home run O'Neal Cruz, we can't enjoy it because he's got to keep going because he's got a time limit. and we got to
Okay.
enjoy it. And to another point, it's kind of dangerous for the fans to just be like, baseball's just coming left and right out there. So, I mean, I say we pick 5 top guys that want to do it, that are good at it, or the MLB wants or the fans want to see, and we go back to 10 outs and let us enjoy the home run derby the way it's supposed to.
Lewis Brinson, there for the people on the home run
Seriously,
derby.
man. See, I used to love the 10 outs, man. Let me see how far you can hit it, especially at a good hitting ballpark. I mean,
Sure.
with the chop house right there, I want to see people launching over the chop house and look like they're going to hit it over the stadium.
So I will say that's a cool visual. Anybody that was
sure.
watching on TV would have seen it, but we were in the building watching it live. To be able to hit the ball completely out of the stadium. So you have stadium. There's a handful of stadiums that are built that way. McCovey Cove is very famous for it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can hit the ball over the chop house, over the roof, out of the stadium, that's pretty awesome. And several of the lefty hitters hit it over the chop house, out of the stadium. It was cool to see.
Oh yeah. But I think MLB All-Star does a great job, highlighting the guys with the red carpet show. I really, really love that addition to that. I loved the swing off at the end. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about that.
Yeah, exactly. That's a new rule.
Yeah, I love that.
Believe it or not, I did not know this. We'll talk a lot about this, and we'll get a little bit more focused. We'll talk a lot about this as we go through the week. But this was a rule that I read was put in on the latest collective bargaining agreement. So in the latest, the current CBA put this in. If there was ever a tie in the All-Star game, it doesn't just end, because sometimes in years past it's ended in a tie, and they went to this swing off, and it turned out to be fantastic.
Oh yeah, it was dope. Came down the last hitter, last swing, and then
it did not though, because Pete Alonso didn't have to hit.
Yeah, exactly. But you can't let it in a tie. You got to see who's going to get home field advantage in the World Series. So, you gotta come up with a solution to see who wins.
That's a good point, because that's a different conversation. But I want to ask you: do you like that? Like, because I don't necessarily. I love the swing off. I don't necessarily love the All-Star game dictating home field advantage for the World Series. I feel like whoever has the best record overall should have home field advantage.
I mean, I can attest to that, but I also can attest to making the All-Star game competitive and making it fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want these guys just to go out there and go through the motions, because that's honestly in baseball, I feel like you going through the motions is honestly how you get hurt.
Right, but if you're a National or a Pirate or a Rocky or a White Sox, are you really being like, I got to do this for home field advantage?
And I thought about that. There's some guys like, man, I'm just going through the mode. We ain't making the playoffs, or I might be on a different team anyway. But I like the aspect of making it so they have to play for something. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure they got incentives on who wins, and that's the main one is home field advantage. Whoever wins, whatever league wins. But personally, I like it. It gives us something to to watch, and it's competitive. It's a competitive game. You saw guys running out ground balls. Steven Kwan I think ground ball. Ronald Acuna beating out that ground ball. You know what I'm saying?
Steven Kwan in the ninth.
Exactly. So it gives a better aspect to it. Guys are hyping the dugout, and with the comeback and stuff. So
here's what I would argue: Steven Kwan runs out that ball in the ninth no matter what. Doesn't matter. I don't think he's thinking World Series advantage.
No,
I'm thinking Major League Baseball lends itself, the way that the game is played, lends itself for the best All-Star game. Because the pitchers are still going to want to throw 100. The hitters are still going to want to hit home runs. The defense is going to still want to make web gems. Like, in basketball and football, they're not even trying. They don't care. I think this, I don't think you can loaf. Like, I just think you want to be so individually good. And it's like, in all due respect, that's how you guys came up. Like, that's how the players came up. They've always played in showcases. They've always played in games where it's like
all-star games and all kinds of
And the idea is, hey, look, we want to put it on paper. We want to execute. We obviously want the team to win, but this is not something where you're going to see this team all the time. So I think the nature of baseball forces itself to, I want to be the guy to come through in the clutch, hit that big home run or hit that big double.
In the All-Star game? You kidding me?
Yeah, no matter what. Like, I just don't think you loaf in baseball like you would loaf in basketball or like football. Like football,
I don't think you can, just because you can't loaf to hit 100. like you said, every pitcher is up there trying to throw as hard as they can. Guys are throwing nasty. I feel like the curveballs and the sliders are nastier, but
Right.
I don't think you can't. I don't want to say you think. I think, but I know you can't just half step in hitting 100 miles an hour.
You're gonna get
So
embarrassed.
you got Paul Skeens up there. You got Jacob Mizorowski trying to throw 105
Yeah,
past
you're gonna
everybody.
get embarrassed.
Yeah, you're going to get embarrassed, and you just not able to catch up. So I think again, you can't half step in the MLB All Star Game, whereas other sports you kind of can take a step back and take a 3-pointer from half court, and
Right.
nobody's going to be guarding you. It's like, nah, man, you still got 8 guys out there. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get you out, no matter what you do. No matter how hard you hit this ball. And like you said, guys want to put on a show in the All Star Game, man. That's a lot of guys with their first time being in the All Star Game. I want to put on a show, man. I want to put myself on the map and show people what I can do and why I'm here. So again, I think as far as competitive wise, and there's again a lot of stuff going on as far as parties, and you go to these different cities and stuff, and you get the stars and the artists, the Quavos, the Ludacris's, the Jermaine Dupri's to come out, Ushers to come out and put that on, and then we'll talk about the Hank Aaron tribute. But I mean, in my opinion, there's no better All-Star game. Again, I would have to go to NBA All-Star to kind of like put that in stone. But for me, MLB ain't nothing like it, man.
You know what? I agree with you wholeheartedly, and because yes, we are a little biased, but I would say, especially I'm a huge basketball fan. I've been a basketball
Me
fan.
too. Me too. I love watching the NBA
for
All-Star game.
years. I would say the NBA, and I argued this on the last podcast. NBA All Star Week has actually, in my opinion, has gone down.
Yeah.
100%. The All Star weeks when I was growing up as a kid, early days in college or whatnot, when the dunk contest meant something, when the 3-point shootout meant something, when the actual game was kind of competitive, and you had Jordan and Kobe trying to like pass the torch type stuff, and people were really trying. All of that stuff has skewed its way more to like party environment, seen to be seen, all the extracurriculars, and all the best players don't want to play in the game. Well, they don't want to be in the dunk contest. They, they may do the skills competition. They haven't figured out the way to make the game competitive. Rookie versus sophomores, or USA versus world young, like they just haven't figured it out, right?
Yeah.
I think over this last course of even the last 5 years, especially the last 3 years that I've gone, the MLB All-Star Game has figured out ways to get better. They've figured out ways to add components to make it awesome. The HBCU Swingman Classic, fantastic. The way that they built the Home Run Derby, which I think has overtaken the Slam Dunk Contest as the coolest like extracurricular activity on an All-Star Week. I think that it's fantastic, and they've just figured out ways to make the game better. While I think the other ones have kind of figured out ways to water it down. So huge, like pumped about it. You mentioned a lot of first-time All-Stars there, a lot of people that we wanted to root for and see. You have some personal bias. You have relationships with some of the players I know playing in the game. Who was the name 2 or 3 people that you were so excited to see play in an All-Star game this year?
Yeah, so I'm again guys that I played with, guys that are my friends, and gone through the trenches in the minor leagues with. Hunter Brown didn't get to pitch, obviously, because he pitched the day before the game, or day before getting there. But I was really happy for him. Being in AAA and in Sugarland with him, I could tell he was a dog, and call him Diesel for a reason. He goes out there and tries to literally dominate, like dominate every single time he goes out there. And I could see that playing with him in AAA with the Astros. So I was really, really happy to see him. I'm happy to see him having a really good year and a breakout year, and I knew it was going to happen. But I'm really happy to see him get his first All-Star game and get that nod. Obviously, James Wood, seeing him get his first All-Star appearance, which that's going to be added on to many, many years of him being an All-Star, man. The guy's dynamic and impressive, honestly. It hasn't even filled out yet. So I'm glad he got that nod as well. Obviously, Jazz. That's my boy, second time All-Star. Should have had 3 hits, hit the first ball hard, but always love seeing him have success, and I think he's going to have an even bigger second half. Staying healthy is obviously the biggest thing for him, and then that move to second base, I think, is going to pay dividends. But I'm glad to see those guys get their for Jazz second All-Star in, but those guys getting their first All-Star game in and just taking it all in, man. I saw Hunter at the players' party, and he was so excited to be there, and I could tell, man, he was just excited, man, and really, really happy for him and all the guys that made their first All-Star appearance.
Yeah, I echo you. Mentioning James Wood. Obviously, James Wood's a friend of the programs, been on the podcast, and we followed his career as he's entered the pros, and he's just raking. He's having a great season, and
Really impressive, man.
yeah, it
Really,
was
really
really
impressive.
impressive, and it was awesome to see him out there and getting the nod the way that he got the nod. So, extremely excited about James Wood. Looking forward to his second half.
Yep.
The guy that I was also really excited to see was Byron Buxton.
Oh yeah,
Big double in the ninth.
Yeah.
But I was excited because again, the tale is still, fair or unfair. Byron Buxton, when healthy, is one of the best players in the league, one of the absolute most talented, and he's got to show that, and he's been showing it all this year. So that's been completely exciting to see him be healthy, because when he's healthy full time, he puts it together, and he is just absolutely phenomenal.
Fun fact before we move on.
Yeah.
Hate to rain on Bucks parade, but Lewis Brinson did beat Byron Buxton in a home run derby at the All-American game at Wrigley Field.
Are you serious?
11.
I did not know this.
It's probably not important, and he was using a bomb bat, which at the time was like a juiced bat, and Lewis Brinson did outlast him in the home run derby. So I'm just gonna tip my cap to Buck.
Did you get a chance to remind? When was the last time you got to remind him of this?
I don't even think we played against each other in pro ball, honestly. He was with the Twins. I was in Arizona with the Rangers, so obviously didn't meet there. And then all throughout the minor leagues, I never played the Twins. So, and I never played him in the big league. So I haven't talked to Buck. I know Nico, buddy of mine, with my podcast. They're good friends. They grew up in around the same area, so they know each other pretty well. But no, I haven't talked to Buck. I haven't seen Buck in a minute. If he ever watches this, just congrats on all the success. But don't forget, skinny little Lewis Brinson did outlast you.
Funny.
I just want to throw that in a little.
No, that's why you're here. That's fantastic. And I would say the third person I was excited to see, and see him perform all throughout the weekend was Kyle Raleigh. Simply because this guy's having an unprecedented. He had an unprecedented first half. 38 home runs in the first half of the season. Switch hitting catcher. It's not that Kyle Raleigh came out of nowhere, but this season came out of nowhere for Kyle Raleigh.
Right.
And everybody knows the guy that's usually leading the league in home runs is not necessarily the guy you would pick to favor in the home run derby, even though Vegas never loses. Vegas had Kyle Raleigh favored to win.
Yeah.
The story about his dad pitching to him and his brother catching, and then he actually wins the home run derby to cap off a first half of the year where he's hitting like Barry Bonds, gets named to the All-Star game, wins the home run derby. I mean, who has a better first half situation? Who's had a better 7 months of 2025 than Kyle Raleigh?
I'm about to say who's had a better 2025 than that guy? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's a good point. Him having pretty much being two players hitting from both sides of the plate, definitely an advantage. But him having his brother catching his dad throwing to him, and just to cap off a great first half, and I think he's going to, continue to go off, finishing one shy away from tying Barry Bonds for the record of most home runs before the All-Star break. But really happy for him, and seems like a really, I've never talked to him, but just seeing him in interviews and seeing him talk, very humble, and I think he's very confident, and he knows that he's worked his whole life to be at this point. And like I said, this isn't a surprise for Cal Raleigh. Has had multiple 30 home run seasons, but having 38 at the break is insane. So I expect big things from him. And again, who's had a better 7 months to come, or 6 months, however many months it's been, than Cal Raleigh. So I'm excited to see his second half of the season, see if he can help carry the Mariners to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean that's another question. Now the Mariners they got some work to do.
They got some work to do. They do
in
have
that
some work to
in
do,
that
and the
AL.
Astros are Astroing.
Yeah, the Astros are Astroing, and I think the last time I checked, they were about 11 games up in the
Mm-hmm.
West, something like that. Let me just
They are currently 5 games up in the
okay.
West.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the Astros are 5 games up over the Mariners. They're up. So there's some
Mm-hmm.
work to do, but not insurmountable.
No.
Um, let me ask this, Lou, if there was a player. Let me all right, if there was a player that did not hit in the home run derby that you wanted to see hit in the home run derby. So
Mm-hmm.
any player that's currently playing that would have been eligible to hit in the home run derby, is there a player that you wish would have hit or been selected to hit that was not in the field?
Um. Honestly, man, like everybody that was in it, like O'Neal Cruz definitely wanted to see that, but that's like the format that I want. I want to see O'Neal Cruz in a 10-out format. I think we might see a 525, 30-foot home run from him. So him, Junior Candelario, I had a feeling that he was going to just rip out homers like that. Kyle Schwarber, I wish would have been in the home run derby. I feel like he hits really well at that ballpark
It would have been
anyway.
great. That's a great
Yeah,
one.
he would have probably won that pretty easily. And like I don't know, even in the swing off, it felt like all right, he's probably everything he touches, he's probably going to go out. So I think that's a big one. Kyle Schwarber, I think would have just demolished the field, especially with the short porch in the chop house. He would have been hammering that chop house
Right,
on.
because he's a lefty.
Yeah, yeah, and he could go center on Oppo with the best of them,
Yeah.
but he definitely doesn't need to. But yeah, I think that's a big one. But I'm telling you, man, that 10-out format, we get some of these guys, and we know the balls are juiced. We know,
You're really
we know,
into it.
we know. I think we picked the top 5 and we let them go at it. I know we're time constraints. Maybe started at 7 instead of 8 o'clock. But I know we got the time limit and stuff, but I just think just the spectacle of seeing how far these baseballs can be hit with how strong these dudes are, and just keep the fans safe. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I was
Yeah,
in left
so
field last year. I was in left field last year for the home run derby with Edwin Jackson and his kids because they
yeah,
wanted to catch some fly balls and stuff. And I could tell you, man, it's real dangerous out there in left
yeah,
field when the righty's hitting left field or right field when the lefty's hitting. It's dangerous because you got balls flying everywhere. People are jumping all over the place trying to get baseballs and not paying attention because baseball land over here is still trying to get it and another baseball's on its way. So I'm just throwing that out there. Maybe we might want to switch that
so
up.
I'm throwing out there because you mentioned some names that you would have liked to seen in the derby. One of the names that you did not mention was Pete Alonso.
Yeah, but we've already seen Pete Alonso.
So you would
We've seen
not
Kyle
he's
Schwarber
not
too. He's the man. That's
Aaron
the reason he
Judge,
was last. Aaron Judge, yeah. I mean, but those are guys that's like
Soto.
I don't really want to hear it. I don't really want to, hit in the dirt. I want guys that want. I'm thinking of guys that maybe have wanted to hit in the Derby. I think Kyle Schwarber
Shohei?
would have won in the. Who's that?
Shohei?
Shohei, yeah, yeah. But I mean,
All right. All right.
we. But I think honestly, Cheech, I think we saw some guys obviously that maybe not the names that you thought were going to hit in the Derby, but like the superstar names, Judge, Otani, Pete Alonso, you know what I'm saying? But these guys are young, coming up stars. I think James Wood is a name I didn't expect to be in the Derby. He was in the
Oh,
Derby.
loved it.
Uh,
Loved it.
oh yeah, him, O'Neal Cruz, Candelario, Buck, like Jazz. I don't think Jazz is really built for a Derby. I think he's
I
more
had
of a
him winning.
game. I did too, just solely because he's my boy and I want him to win. But honestly, I was either Cal Raleigh or Junior Candelario, and I have witnesses that I said that.
So,
So
I have theories, and there was a theory why I thought Jazz would possibly win, because Jazz is super smart when it comes to capitalizing on
the moment,
big opportunities. No,
yeah,
so it is no secret, he's publicly said this in interviews. He told the guys at MLB The Show, if I
mm,
make the All-Star game, I will be the first Bohemian-born All-Star in baseball. If I make the All-Star game, you have to put me on the cover. Jazz did not necessarily have I'm MLB The Show cover boy season, but he
Mhm.
made the All-Star team, and he kind of parlayed it and built it up to getting on the cover of MLB The Show.
Yeah.
I want to say it was 2 years ago, maybe last year.
Yeah, it was
It was 2 years ago, I think.
2023.
But it's fantastic.
2023.
It was
Yeah.
great. I would do it a million times because
Right.
I'm like, yeah. Bidding on the cover of that game elevates your popularity to a brand new status, and it's because he made the All-Star game. So my thing was, if he'd won the home run derby, who knows what Jazz would have parlayed this
I
into?
know,
I
right?
don't know. He would have gotten like a statue outside of Yankee Stadium or something. And I was like, because of that, I was like, Jazz Chisholm is going to try so hard to win this because if
Yeah.
he wins, like the
Who
sky's the
knows what
limit
he
on what
yeah, what
Jazz
he
could.
negotiated behind
Yeah,
closed doors.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
my pick. All right, I want to ask you because I have a conspiracy theory. I have floated this out for about a week now, and
Mhm.
the answer to the question I asked you for me is I would have given not my whole left arm, but part of it to see Ronald Acuna hit in the Derby.
Yeah, I would have to. I
So
would have
here's
to, but
here's
I
my
know what you're
theory.
about to say. I know what you're about to say because
Th-
I've talked about it too. But go
This
ahead.
is my controversial conspiracy theory take. So
All right.
Ronald Acuna only plays a handful of games, and
Right.
this is what I will tell you: Ronald Acuna, in the handful of games that he played, was the best player in baseball. He was
Right.
better than Aaron Judge. He was better than he was the
Shohei,
best player in
everybody. Yeah.
baseball.
Yeah.
When he came back, he's been raking. He's been doing everything he needs to do.
Mhm.
Does that constitute an all-star selection? In my mind, in Atlanta, absolutely. Not
Yeah.
to mention that the fans voted him in. So it wasn't even like he was a player selection or a commissioner selection. So I'm 100% fine with Ronald Acuna being in the All-Star game, being named an All-Star,
I am
voted as
too.
an All-Star starter. I don't
I am
have any
too.
problem with that. Here is my theory, though. My theory is this follows. Ronald Acuna was the first player of any player to announce, if I'm invited, I will hit in the home run derby.
Yeah.
At this time that he made this announcement, everybody's like, ooh, that's awesome. Mind you, no all-star. I don't even think they'd opened the voting yet.
Yeah.
So
I'm
no
about to say
all-stars
no
have
R
been
stars were
selected.
selected yet.
He just wanted to go and be, in the home run derby as an all-star selection. Now, I think he did that. My theory is he did that as a way to participate in All-Star Weekend. Now, fast forward to everything that's happened. Ronald gets voted as an All-Star starter. He also does. I think he has legitimate back tightness. He sat out of the game against the Pirates 2 games prior to going to the All-Star break.
Mhm.
So he does have something going on with his back. He's not like 100%.
Yeah.
But Acuna now, late scratch, pulls out of the All-Star game home run derby,
Mhm.
replaced by Matt Olson, which was fantastic. Georgia kid, brave, hometown is
Brave. Yeah.
fantastic. My theory, though, is Acuna jumps out the window, makes all of these announcements to endear himself to being voted in the All-Star game. And when he gets in the All-Star game, he pulls out of the home run derby. Lewis
Yeah.
Brinson, are you in on this conspiracy theory?
I am in on this conspiracy. Because it was like you said, it was like abnormally early that he committed.
Yes.
That he committed to the Derby, and I was like, oh, okay, dope. This is going to be amazing.
Fantastic. They're doing
People are going to be
hype
on
videos
nuts.
with Ronald Acuna.
Oh yeah, this is going to be crazy. And then the back tightness, and then he pulled out, and like I said, it's gets replaced by Matt Olson, which is great. But
Fantastic.
no knock to Matt Olson because one of the best home run hitters in the game. But everybody would have loved the excitement of Ronald Acuna hitting in that and possibly winning the Derby. But I do have thoughts that he possibly, because he knew he played less games than everybody, and with the All-Star game being in Atlanta, doesn't make sense to have the All-Star game in Atlanta without Ronald Acuna, especially with the numbers that he was putting up. Like I said, he was putting up ridiculous numbers when he came back. Anyway, it's not like he was hitting like 250 or 240, 230 with, 2-3 home runs leading him to All-Star break. It's like, oh, no, we got to have Acuna there because he's a past All-Star and he's a superstar. It's like, no, this man was legitimately like putting up all-star type numbers leading into the game, even though he had less at bats, less games, and everything. But I do believe somewhat in that conspiracy theory that he just said he would do that to get in, to be a part of the weekend. And then, I mean, he was going to, I don't know if he felt like he was going to get voted in anyway, but ended up getting the most votes anyway for right field and ended up starting. But I think there's a little something to that, if you will. I think there's a little something. Little something.
There we go. There we go.
We'll never know. We'll never know.
Hey, look. I just when I heard the news, this is again. It was a great derby. It was a great week. It was a great experience. I want to talk a little bit about your experience as opposed to. I'll tell you about my experience as well, but I want to talk about your experience. We talked about the actual game. We talked about the derby, which is by far like the line of demarcation of like when All-Star Week gets serious, right? So, and again, you didn't get there. So for people that don't know, this is really MLB All-Star weekend, whatever you want to call it. It's really a marathon. People really don't realize how long it is.
Yeah.
So for people that are covering everything, like you're covering everything as best you can, it really starts for those people on Thursday afternoon, Thursday early evening. And then you go Thursday all the way through Tuesday night, which was last night. This is the second year in a row where in my mind, I'm like telling myself, I'm like training. I'm going to go from Thursday to Tuesday and come home Wednesday. I have never made it. I have come home. Actually, did I make it the first year? I take it back. I made it the first year that I covered it, which was Seattle 2 years ago.
Okay.
I did Thursday through Tuesday, came home on Wednesday. The last 2 years, I've been on a plane
on Tuesday
morning.
Get me out of here.
I love the game, but most times I did have obligations. Last night, my son was playing in his All-Star tournament, so I was like, I'm watching this All-Star game. But it's hard. It's hard. So I got there on Thursday. Lewis, when did you get there?
I got there on Sunday.
Okay. Okay. So we'll
got there on Sunday.
We'll go through and I'll tell you a little bit about kind of what you've seen in the past and what I've seen this year. And then we'll talk about other things. Again, our experiences are completely different, but All-Star Week is awesome. So I will completely argue till the cows come home about all the things everything that I see during MLB All-Star Week, baseball related. The absolute best thing baseball related that I've ever seen for the third year in a row, and I will stand firm on this, is HBCU swingman practice. Wingman, not the game. HBCU wingman practice. That takes place Thursday evening. The first year I went in Seattle, it was at the University of Washington. The second year I went in Dallas, it was at the Texas Rangers Youth Academy facility.
Okay.
This Thursday, this year, it took place at Georgia Tech University. And that's where, and I'll tell you, for anybody that is following, I'll tell you why it's the best. It is all of the HBCU All-Americans that come and they get to work out in front of all of the swingman coaches, trainers, and they get to see all of these amazing luminaries that are coming to be a part of the HBCU Swingman Classic. It is the most down-home, relaxed, family reunion atmosphere that I've ever seen amongst the legends. They love it. And then they get to give back and see these kids that are obviously trying to impress them. They get speeches. Obviously, get a good conversation from King Griffey Jr., but you name it. Andre Dawson's there. Marvin Freeman's there. Lenny Webster's there. Marquise Grissom Jr.'s there. Jerry Manuel's, like all of these amazing, in years past. Cito Gaskin's been there. Dave Winfield's been there. Like, it's just all of these guys are like hugging each other, seeing each other because they're happy to see each other.
Right.
And they're giving back. So this year it was managed by Dave Justice and Brian Jordan. They're all there, and they're all a lot of the Braves legends. So the kids are working out. These guys, Dave Justice is giving them pointers, and Brian Jordan's helping them out. And
scouts there? Are there scouts there too?
For the practice, I
No.
don't think so. Because again, the
Oh,
other
okay.
part of this that makes it awesome is because as soon as you get to the game at Truist Field, there, especially for media, you're back to a MLB, sanctioned event, which is fine. But
Mm-hmm.
they're also like, hey, look, you can do this, you can do this, you can stay behind this rope line, you can go here, you can talk to this person here. At
Mm-hmm.
swingman practice, it is the most like friendly, welcoming. Everybody's happy to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can
yeah.
do whatever you want work wise. Not within reason. I mean, the only people
Right.
that even know about this event is like,
The
press that
people
are
that
in
are
the
supposed to
know
be
and
there.
stuff
Yeah.
like that. But I contend, and I will continue to contend, of all the things that I cover, for the last 3 years, the swingman practice is the most heartwarming, like, awesome baseball experience for anybody that really cares about black baseball. And then after that, they go to a wonderful dinner, and the players get to again hear from these amazing luminaries. It's fantastic. So
Right.
that's Thursday night. Now you did
Okay.
not you got drafted at a place where you didn't even go to college,
Yeah.
but this is the first year. 2025 is the first year that 4 players in the HBCU Swingman Classic got drafted. Prior to that, there hadn't been an HBCU draft pick, I want to say, until 2019. So these types of showcases, I don't know if it's the talent that's bigger, the recognition that's bigger, the stages are bigger, but for the first time, whatever they're doing in regards to promoting HBCU baseball seems to have resulted in a small victory with these 4 guys being drafted.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I did not expect that. I thought you were going to say the actual game, to see these guys around, all these big leaguers and legends, and being on a big league field. I know a lot of those guys. It's their first time being in a big league state or big league field, being on actually on the field. So to say the practice, and I can already picture it now. As soon as you said Georgia Tech, and it was very relaxed and home down, kind of just kind of low key, but at the same time, family reunion style, kind of, with the parents in the stands and like the legends. And when we all get together, we get to kind of chopping it up, and these kids are able to kind of be themselves. You know what I'm saying? And be around these guys and guys that they've watched and guys that they heard about. Their dads grew up watching Andre Dawson. I hope a lot of those guys maybe got a chance to speak to him. Andre Dawson is a very interesting person, just from talking to him in the Bahamas. But very, very interesting person, what he does now, what all the different stories that he has from playing. But yeah, I mean that's kind of shocking. But I could just picture this practice just being the most fun-loving,
Yep.
just relaxed, urban, if you will, atmosphere for these guys that are able to relax. That's why I asked if there's scouts there, and if it's like a showcase or it's just like
Nope.
a
Nope. It
strictly
really
just
is.
a practice.
There's
They're
not a
able to
lot of
just
scouts. There
relax.
might be a few agents there, not a lot of scouts. Some
Yeah.
coaches, though, tons of coaches
Right.
that are
Right. Right.
connected to Swingman.
Yeah.
And so that the coaching staffs are fantastic. But why I like it better than the practice is also because that's where instruction can take place. Like
Right.
if you're in a game, you roll over a ball to third base, they're not going to stop in the game and tell you, "Hey, this is what I see you do it."
Yeah.
But when
Just
you're in batting
instruction. Yeah.
practice, right? You're in batting practice before the swingman. They're gonna stop. Like Dave Justice is gonna stop and it's like, hey,
Yeah.
let me tell you about your front foot. Now we talked about this. These guys are college All-Americans. They're really good players.
Hmm.
You're only seeing these guys for 2 days, so you
Right.
got to take what you can with a grain of salt, right? But if Ken Griffey Jr. tells you, hey, they're pitching you inside, you got to do this, you're
I'm
probably
doing it.
gonna listen for a little bit, right?
I'm probably doing it. Probably gonna do it. I'm probably gonna switch everything and just go off of what Ken Griffey Jr. just
Well,
told me.
you never know. It was very cool. Also, you mentioned Andre Dawson, who he just had a birthday. He turned 71. He's
Hmm.
fantastic. Uh, Andre Dawson. I'm talking to Andre Dawson. Marvin Freeman walks up to Andre Dawson and tries to remind him of the time that he struck him out. This is happening. Like this is all the back. So
Yeah.
Freeman is talking about striking out Andre Dawson. Andre Dawson then I think proceeds to tell Freeman that he took him deep, like the second time they faced each other. Um, and then he like Andre Dawson tells us like he was like, I loved Marvin Freeman. I loved him
Yeah.
because he had that swagger, he had that bravado that a lot of pitchers didn't have. and he remembers him. You know what I mean? He was like, "This is
Right.
fantastic." But yeah, it was the Harold Reynolds and Dave Sims is out. Dave Sims loves it. And Roy Wood Jr. is out. It's like a whole bunch of folks out there in this setting, just like watching and taking it in and talking to these guys, and it's fantastic. So
That's awesome, man.
love the practice, love the game. This year's game I actually really liked. There were some questions about this was going to be a big year, and I think it was for Swingman Classic because it was year 3 and it's in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And this is the first time where you were really in the heart of an HBCU. But you saw everything. You saw the Divine Nine. You saw the steps. You saw the drums. You saw the Black National Anthem getting center stage. You saw a lot of wonderful things that I know Ken Griffey Jr. and Tony Regans and all of these guys have been putting in place for the last 3 years to get to this point. And I do think that there's 2 things that MLB does that I think will be codified and will be solidified. One of them is the brainchild of Ken Griffey Jr., which is Swingman. The other one, we'd mentioned him. I don't know if we mentioned him on the air or off the air, but Chris Young and CeCe Sabathia have both played a major role in the East West Classic, which you played.
Right. Yeah.
I think the East West Classic, Juneteenth, Birmingham, Rickwood Field, if they continue to solidify that year after year in that location, and the Swingman Classic as a part of the All-Star Weekend, I think those are 2 really awesome events and major victories that could have the potential to hold pat as they move forward. So I'm really excited about that.
Oh yeah, I'm very, very excited. I'm honored again. I've said it a million times, but honored to even be a part of that and get to play amongst legends, man, and to be at that field. And I've said it before. I said it to you during the interview when I got there. I mean, just being able to walk on that field and feel the aura of, who's been on that field and what that field has meant to Black baseball, and just the different opportunities that everybody that played that game has because of the people that paved the way. And that was kind of a stepping stone for a lot of those guys. I mean, you don't realize. I didn't realize until the game was over and I was walking off. I'm like, you realize what you just, like, I know this didn't mean, it meant a lot, but it wasn't like an actual real game. But to be able to throw on a uniform, be on the same field as these guys, hitting this derby, take BP, run around, touch the grass, you know what I'm saying, and just run around on the same fields, and in the same place that, legends that if they didn't pave the way, you wouldn't be able to be here. Just take this in for a second. So, again, I think that's going to continue to hold weight, and shout out to CY and CC for putting that on and bringing MLB. They did a great job of organizing everything. Had some rain come through, so being able to organize and facilitate everything, and then along with the HBCU Classic, I didn't get to see that this year, but last year in Texas, that was great. We were able to see
Have you seen one? I know you didn't get there this year.
Last year I was able to see that one. Last year I got there early, and by like the 5th day, I was like, man, this is a lot.
It's a marathon. It's a true marathon. Yeah, I'm not making that up.
It's a long weekend. But it's awesome. The MLB does a great job of showcasing these young guys before they bring in the actual big league all-stars.
Yep. No, I couldn't agree more. Love Swingman. That's Thursday's practice. Friday's the Swingman. Then you jump to Saturday, which again, you weren't there this year, but you mentioned you played in the Futures game before.
Right.
And then the Futures game. So there's a bunch of line of demarcations, right? When it comes to All-Star Week, All-Star Weekend, however you want to call it. The first line of demarcation is the difference between the Futures game and the Celebrity Softball game. So that's the first line of demarcation. And let me be clear. Every stage of the line of demarcation, it gets more serious. It gets more restrictive. It gets harder to cover, right? And so as a journalist, it gets harder to be in the places you need to be in, unless you're my guy Clinton Yates or somebody that's credentialed through the whole thing. It's different. It's just different. So you cover Swingman practice, and it's pretty awesome. If you know where to go, you're gonna be fine. Like
Yeah.
you don't even have to just like show badges half the time. You're gonna be fine. You're on the field. The game, you're not gonna be on the field unless you're credentialed, but still, it's you can walk up to people at the batting cage. It's okay. It's
Right.
okay. Then you get to futures game. This year I was a little surprised because the last 2 years, especially in Seattle, I remember being in awe. And in Texas, really being in awe that there were no empty seats. Like the futures game was like mad serious
Yeah.
in regards to crowd. Like
Right. Right.
people really love the futures game.
Mm-hmm.
This year, I'm not saying it may have been sold out on paper. Like, you know how things might have been sold out on paper, and you go,
Mm-hmm.
there were a lot of more, like, not a lot, but there were way more empty seats for this year's futures game than I expected. Now, there's a couple of reasons that could come into play here. One, it's Atlanta, it's hot, it's outside.
Mm-hmm. And it's like a day game in a
Right.
sense.
And I felt like it was earlier. Has it always been noon? I felt like this was an earlier game.
It's always been like 2 o'clock, like noon to
Okay.
2 o'clock, right around there. Yeah, yeah.
So I just felt like
That's a big factor, though. It's Atlanta.
it
It's
was. It
hot.
was a big.
This ain't, ain't show ain't gonna be there. Judge ain't gonna be there. We're gonna watch some prospects, which is great. For us as baseball fans, you want to see these prospects and be able to watch them on a big league field because we'll probably see them either later in the year or next year early.
Sure.
But yeah, that definitely played a huge factor in a lot of people maybe not showing up just because it was
It was just
middle of the day
I was
game.
a
It was
little
nice
bit
weather.
surprised.
Or it was hot, but it wasn't
Yeah.
cloudy or raining or anything. But that definitely, I think, maybe played a lot. Had something to do with it, and people not
And
being there.
so,
But yeah, it's always been an earlier game because they got the
yeah, I knew
softball
it
game
was
after it. Yeah.
and here's the thing too, because again, previous years, full disclosure, previous years, I have not had as many. I had more obligations in 2025 than I've ever had in 23 and 24. Like, so I remember for people that care about this stuff, hope you're enjoying it. I'll tell you the truth. The truth was I was not credentialed for the futures game in Seattle. Like that was the first year I was covering. I was there, obviously, in support of the Players Alliance, in support of HBCU Swingman, and I got credentialed for Swingman. I actually got credentialed that year for Home Run Derby and the actual game. But I think this is what I think happened. And again, these people are amazing. They're good people. I talk to them all the time, so I can give you what I think. This is only my theory. But I think was the full disclosure of what happened. They credentialed us for Swingman, which was great. We did a great job. They did not credential us for the futures game, which was I think at the time a big deal for us to cover
Right.
and be a part of. And so what I think happened was, we didn't get credentialed at all. I didn't get credentialed. Some of the other folks that were in our group didn't get credentialed as well. So I think in order to make up for that mistake per se, they turned around and credentialed us for Monday and Tuesday, right? Like, which was fine.
Right.
But we do here the Black Baseball Mixtape.
Yeah.
There were more black players in the futures game than there was playing in the game. Is same as this year. The futures game is actually over-indexed when it comes to African American players in the game, which I think is a great thing. So then year 2, credentialed all the way across the board, which is fantastic, which is great. This year, full disclosure, I was credentialed for the futures game. Very, very excited to be so. Thank you to everybody that made that happen. However, as you mentioned across through this week as well, we're like triple booked now all the time, like double, triple booked. Yeah. One of my partners on this podcast, shout out to our partners over at Minority Prospects, they had their high school All-American game, which is a huge deal.
Yeah.
That morning in Marietta, which was about 35 minutes away. Like, it wasn't far, but they've got the best minority baseball high schoolers in the country at, I can't remember what the name of the high school was in Marietta, but it's a huge deal. They've got a going. They've got the kids there. They've got this home run derby, which was won by RJ Cope. Congratulations to the Vanderbilt commit. That'll probably, who knows if he'll make it to Vanderbilt because he's really, really good. Yeah. Malachi Washington, Keon Johnson, all these great high school players are there. And so I hate to say it, but I'm not. I don't hate to say it because they're partners of the podcast. But
Mm.
that's the move. So I had to wake up early,
Yeah.
go out to Marietta, see all the high school kids doing their thing, which was amazing because I wasn't the only one. CC Sabathia was there, and Matt Kemp was there, and
Oh wow.
MJ Austin was there, and it was fantastic. It was a
Bro,
great
CC
show.
is everywhere. I think during some of this stuff, I feel like CC has a clone
Yeah,
because he's
it was
like
awesome. It was
everywhere.
awesome. But
Yeah.
our guy Coach E from Black Baseball Media was there, and
Mhm.
Des from Maynard Jackson and Menard. Everybody's there at this game because this is a
It's a
big deal.
big time game. Yeah.
And so by the time I leave there, trying to time everything perfectly, I get to the Futures game. It's like the third inning. And so, I mean, you're able to see some of it. DePaula's 3-run home run that put the National League on the top.
Mhm.
Got to see Enrique Bradfield, who I just interviewed 2 weeks ago, former first round pick of the Orioles, play some center field. You got to
Mhm.
see some things, but I
Yeah.
was not there for the whole like pregame. Let's do the media access pregame home run, like where I would have loved to have been able to cover that.
Right.
I was at the All American game, which was also we did cover. We had a lot of work to do out there, and then that rolled into the Futures game, which rolled into the Celebrity Softball game, which I was able to cover that on the field and pregame and do that stuff. So that's my Saturday.
That's your
Again,
Saturday. You got
this
3 days
is no.
left.
I mean, again, years past when you're not triple booked or quadruple booked.
Mhm.
You could go to Fan Fest, you could go to the pop-ups, you go to the Nike pop-up or the New Balance outlet. You could see all the cool things in the world. I saw nothing, my brother. I saw baseball after baseball, which was fine. I understand,
Yeah.
but it was like baseball after baseball after baseball. In that line of demarcation, like I said, gets serious.
Well,
And
it did
then,
also to your point. Well,
you
to the point of like last year. So I'm thinking of last year because that was the first time I had been besides in 2017 when I played in the Futures game. Um, the walkability of last year was a lot easier to go
yeah,
to all these
yeah,
things. You know what I'm saying? Because
yes,
you wherever
yes.
you're staying,
In
unless
Seattle too. In
Omni,
Seattle too.
yeah, exactly. In Seattle too, like unless you're staying at the Omni in the Battery, like everything's 15, 20 minutes away. You
We're
got
out in Buckhead.
traffic. Yeah. And you're out in Buckhead, and all the players stay out in Buckhead as well. So
Yeah.
like you're like 20 minutes away, depending on traffic and roads being closed and all that stuff. So it was a lot harder to like to that credit, like it was a lot harder to go see the fan village and be a part of Fan Fest and be able to be around for everything besides the games, like the actual things that were
And
happening on the
Atlanta
field,
traffic is real. I don't care if it
is
was 5
real.
minutes down the street. Beyonce was in town. It was gonna be 35 minutes. It was gonna be a
Yeah.
$30. It was gonna be a $30 Uber no matter what you did.
Oh yeah. At least.
So
At least.
um
So that's a
switch
point to point
let's
out.
switch gears again and power through because after the celebrity softball game,
Mm.
again, that's the first line of demarcation. It's also really the first line of real parties that start to geek up. I'll leave that to you. I did not go to any of those parties. I'm a huge after Saturday night. I will tell you, most people know this. I'm a huge fight fan.
Mm.
Friday night after the HBC Swingman game, I watched the Serrano Taylor fight, and then Saturday night was the Edgar Berlanga Shakur Stevenson fight. So I caught some of that. But I did not do any of the look. I was door dashing it, watching fights back in Buckhead. I was not going, but that Saturday night's the first night where Quavo pops up. And let me be let me be clear. There's a lot of there's a lot of kings of Atlanta. There are.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Jermaine Dupri's, the Ushers, the
Yeah. The
Ludacris's,
ludicrous.
Little
Yeah.
Johns. There are a lot of kings of Atlanta, 2 Chains.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you now, no one is I think the person that's got it right now. And what I mean by that is like, you ask the kids who this person is and you talk about Atlanta music.
Mm-hmm.
It is Honcho Quavo.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's because very much like somebody I don't want to get off in a tangent, but like Travis Scott and Quavo are guys that kind of wrap themselves around sports culture,
Mm-hmm.
and they're at the Fanatics Fan Fest, and they're doing the things that endear you to kind of the sports culture world of stardom.
Right.
Quavo's playing in the NBA Celebrity All-Star game. He's playing in the Celebrity Softball game, and obviously he's young enough and hot enough, and he has the resume enough where he's got hits.
Yeah.
So where
and everybody knows him.
Right, where everybody knows Ludacris in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Ludacris songs. It's still not the same with the younger people.
Right.
If Ludacris comes out and does Welcome to Atlanta or even his hits as when Quavo's doing his hits. Like the players today are Quavo fans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Future, I don't know how he does it because Future's older than people think.
Well, I mean, Future's still very
right. No, Future's still like he's still got a lot. But
but as far as like being around the culture of sports, Quavo is definitely at the top.
Quavo's the guy. Right.
Yeah, Quavo's the guy. Like I said,
he did a great job.
He made a good chunk of change from MLB.
He did a great job.
This all-star, man, he was popping up everywhere. I did not get a chance to go to the boardroom party and the Nike party, so because I got in on Sunday, but I got a chance to go to, and I heard that party was awesome. Very intimate, but very, very dope at the same time with him and just everything that MLB, kind of had going. MLB does it right, man.
And here's the full disclosure. I'm not very cool. I'm old and I'm washed, Lou. These are things that you need to realize. So like I knew these parties existed. And I say that to say, had I pressed really hard, there are enough people in Atlanta. If I pressed really hard to be like, I might have been able to find the location. I'm not saying I would have been able to go in. I would have found out, like I could have found out where exactly in Atlanta they were, right? If I pushed really hard. But again, I'm old, I'm tired, I'm watching the fight. But yes, the one like the boardroom and the Nike party, like they look amazing. They look amazing. And sometimes you're looking at your IG stories and you see your friends that you were literally just with and they're at the party and they left you to go to the party and they didn't say anything. They weren't like, I'm going here. I'll also say this. You really know how cool you are or not are during All-Star Week because, again, these things are kind of like floating universal things, but it's also very speakeasy-ish. Yeah. So it's like
if you know type of thing.
Yeah, you can't necessarily be like, yo, you going to this party right now? I'm going to it because you don't want the person to feel bad. And you can't be like, come on with me, I'll get you in. Because you may not necessarily have that pull either. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, yo, I'm close to this dude. I just saw him. And now I'm looking at his Instagram story.
And he in there next to Quavo.
He's in the building. He's in the building. So it is a fun, like, unwritten rule to be like, are you? And I guess the one that was the best for me this year was the players' party because they held the location for like a really long time. I think they had to wait till around the time the home run derby was just ending, and then everybody's like, "Go to this flourish or whatever." And I'm like, "So how you you're gonna get in? There's gotta be wristbands and stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you're not walking in with like Major League Baseball player X, you're probably not getting in here." So I was just like, it was amazing. But the whole culture around who's going to what, like where the tops party is and where the lids party is and where, like, I know one party. That's the Players Lounge.
Yeah. Players Lounge Game Changers was off the chain, though. The award ceremony was great. The location was dope.
Yeah, I have to work. That's my favorite party, though. I don't know any of the other parties that would be that good, only because I'm assuming most of you've been to these. You've lived this life, Lou. You've lived this life. So
I'm just now living the part. I never made an All-Star team. Like I said, I've been to the Futures game in 17, and I did go to some of those parties.
But I'm assuming the parties are not. I'm assuming the Nike party, right, or the boardroom party, are not multi-generational. And what I mean by that, Dusty Baker was at the Game Changer party. Cito Gaskin was there with Marquise Grissom Jr., right? Marquise and his dad, Grissom Sr. and Grissom Jr., Griffey Sr., Griffey Jr., they can both go to the Players Alliance party. They're not going to the Nike party.
You'd be surprised. So, like the Players party, there were a few coaches, there were a few legends at that party. I think they got there at like right after the Derby, show face, shook some hands,
Right.
said what's
Right.
up, danced a little bit, had a drink or two, and then bounced. I got there around like 12.
Yes,
Um,
because you're
yeah,
living the life.
I was at
You're
a
living the
previous,
life.
I was at a previous event, and we're like, man, let's go to this players party. We found, like I said, found out the location right after the Derby ended. Shot there. I got in with me and my wife and Nico and his wife, and then we had some friends. We had to push some things around and let people know that they were with us, and they got in eventually.
But you don't want to do that.
No, I don't want to have to do that because I don't
want to do that.
I don't want to. I don't want to invite people, and I can't get them in.
You know
I
what?
didn't even
Shame on those people that put pressure on you to get you into the Nike party, because that you don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I don't be like, hey man, listen, they're gonna let me in, but they said you can't. I'm sorry.
Keep your ass outside.
Yeah.
So, I would be mean. I would be mean about it. That's why I don't go to these things, because I can't. I'm not cool enough.
But it's more of a something like that, because obviously they have a bunch of security and they got a bunch of police officers.
Right.
They don't want anything happen, to all the players, which I appreciate. I appreciate the secrecy of where the parties are going to be at and last minute texts and stuff. I appreciate that because I don't want no funny business happening, especially where I'm at. So, but as far as like some of these parties, but again, the Game Changers party was awesome. Great event. Players Alliance did that up, I think, better than last year, even though last year was epic as well. But they did it again, and with the music, and man, we were all for a minute there for like a good 30 minutes. Everybody was like, it was like dance hall in there. Like everybody was dancing, playing old school rap, old school R&B. All right, and it was awesome, and the dress code was even better with everybody dressing in old early 2000s code baggy tees, backwards jerseys, wristbands, do-rags, baggy jeans, baggy jorts.
Fantastic. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome.
Let me so I will close with this and we'll move on as we finish up because we're just over an hour on this episode. What is your favorite? What is your favorite All-Star party?
The players, honestly. The players party.
Not the players line, the players party.
The players party. I mean, Players Alliance is definitely
No. You talked about that enough. Tell me about the players party. Tell me about the players party, which I know featured another performance by Quavo.
But exactly. Another performance by Quavo. He closed out the players party, and also Big Boy was there. I pulled up.
Big Boy, and Sleepy Brown. Don't forget Sleepy Brown.
Sleepy Brown did perform as well. But yeah, the players party, just because it's put on so well by MLB. Like I said, there's a bunch of security there. You had Players Tribune taking pictures, took great pictures.
I saw that. Food. That looked fantastic.
Yeah, couple open bars. You got a couple tables in there. Beautiful people all around. Like I said, you got Quavo personally performing for you. Everything's free. You know what I'm saying? In a normal club setting like that, to have Quavo come and perform, everything's gonna, the prices are gonna be jacked up as far as like drinks and tables and all that other stuff. But and they cater Tao. Shout out to Tao for the free Wagyu. I got at least 3 or 4 plates of Wagyu. Like I said, a couple open bars and stuff. But the players party last year was amazing. Last year as well. Karol G performed last year at the Cowboy Stadium. And that was awesome as well. A bunch of celebrities just pop up there. And you're just mingling with these important and beautiful people, man. And you get to kind of, kind of interact with your peers, guys that you played with or played against and you haven't seen in a minute. And you get to kind of chop it up with them a little bit and be in that atmosphere. You get to make your own cards. They had guys making their own Topps cards in the back.
You make your own Topps cards.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, I think the players party, again, I didn't get to go to the boardroom. I'm sure there was a bunch of other parties that I had no idea about, but in my opinion, the players party is dope. Yeah.
All right. Well, Lou, I'm jealous. I live vicariously through.
We're going to get you in the players party. We're going to get you in the players party.
So here's the thing. It's not that it's, again, and I want to be very, very clear about this. It's not that I can't put like arm twist to get in, right? I know enough people in this sense to be able to arm twist and get in. I don't envy that. I envy the fact that you have the ability to stay awake. Because I'm tired, Lou. I'm tired.
Okay?
I
To your
told you what
point,
I did all day Saturday.
I'm about to say you've been doing a lot. You did a lot.
I told you. I'm
You
tired.
did a lot. You did a
And it
lot. You don't
was
have to
like,
show up at 12, Cheech. You show up at 10 and leave by 10:45. Be out of there.
nah, because again, if I'm not gonna know how to act either. So if I get in the building, I'm gonna be like all over the place, like just trying to figure out how to live. Because it's not my everyday lifestyle. You know what I
Right.
mean?
You got to
So
experience it one time, man. You got to
yeah, yeah.
experience a show
You know
part.
what? I'm gonna tell you the truth. I like literally, it was the Dallas year last year where it was in Texas Stadium
Yeah.
where they were like, "Come on, Cheats, come
Mhm.
with us. You're
Yeah.
like we're fine." And it was people that I know would have been fine, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Nah, man, I'm good."
Should have went. Should
I
have
was
went.
like, "I'm going," because again, they were going home, changing, coming back. I was like, "Nah,
Well, listen, and to my point again, in Dallas, you
yeah,
could walk to the
yeah."
hotel real quick and
He was
just walk
like,
over. Or
"Yeah,
they
yeah,
had shuttles. They had little
yeah."
little shuttles taking you back and forth.
I
But
I'm
in this
convinced last
in
year
this,
Dallas would have been my year.
yeah,
Dallas would have been my year.
yeah. Now if
But I'm
everything
okay. I've made peace with all of this. I would like to the one I would want to see the most. Probably I don't know. It's tough. The boardroom. I like a lot of the things the boardroom does, but I don't have any connection to the boardroom. I know who runs it. I
Mhm.
don't know them personally. I know like of the name of Rich
Yeah,
Kleiman and the
yeah,
guys that run it. And then again, ooh, I don't know. All right. Long story short, that's good. Lou, I envy you for more
yeah.
more than your baseball playing ability. I envy your ability to go to parties.
To go to parties and
Okay,
stay
let's see.
awake.
We've gone through Swingman. We've gone through this Swingman game Friday night too. I don't want to overlook that because it was fantastic and it was like
Yeah.
a great environment. Saturday, Minority Prospects All American game. One of the just a surprise treat because that doesn't happen every year at that
Mhm.
time in Georgia. That was awesome. Futures game, celebrity softball game. I thought was awesome as well. You went to the parties. You were like, well, you weren't in yet, but the parties existed. And then Sunday, one of my favorite things, and again, people go back and forth on this. There's something that legitimately people have an argument about. Do you like the draft being a part of All-Star Week on that Sunday, as
Mhm.
opposed to they used to draft maybe a month early. They used to draft where kids were still playing in
Yeah.
like the College World Series and the playoffs, and they'd be like, this guy was drafted first round. He's pitching in Omaha.
I'm about
Now
to say
they've
pitching
moved it.
tonight. Yeah.
Right, they moved it to be a big spectacle, and a big part of All-Star Week. Do you like the draft on that? I would be lying to you if I told you it was Sunday night because I'm getting ready for the Game Changer party, and they've already got like 10 picks off the board. So it
Yeah.
must have started at like 6 o'clock.
Yeah, yeah. I do like the draft being a part of MLB All Star Weekend. Honestly, it brings more hype to the draft.
So
Obviously,
much hype.
obviously the NBA and the NFL draft is a little bit more hyped than the MLB draft. We're used to having
You're
it.
being generous, Lou.
I'm
We
being
can
very
talk freely
generous.
on this show.
I'm
The
being
NBA and the NFL draft are massive multi-day events.
yeah.
And it's much
In
bigger.
others in like big time cities, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? In New
yeah,
York, in Chicago,
yeah,
and LA. So
yeah,
yeah, then there are red carpet shows,
yeah. No,
to
absolutely.
talk about the draft and stuff and get these guys in. But yeah, it definitely hypes it up. It brings more attention. It's part of MLB All Star Weekend, so people already are going to be watching that or already going to be there. Gives a chance for the draftees to go to the draft. I don't know if a lot of guys were actually there.
It didn't
Um,
seem like it this year. So remember,
yeah, I didn't.
I do remember there was a bigger green room in Dallas where I
Yeah,
felt like a lot more of the players were there. A lot more players were you saw them around the field, and
right.
it. So yeah, it did not seem like a lot of folks. A lot of folks chose to be at home on
Right.
satellite with their families, which is understandable as well. Like
Oh
I do
yeah.
get that.
Yeah, I love that. I mean I did. I didn't show up to the actual draft when I got drafted. I was at home with my family. So I love being able to spend that moment with your family, the people that has helped you had helped you get to that point. So I love that. But again, I love it personally being a part of MLB All Star Weekend and being wherever the All Star game is. Again, it just brings more attention. I think we need to bring more attention to our draft. because you get, again, being generous, the NBA and NFL is massively bigger than the MLB draft.
Yeah.
Whereas MLB draft used to be in studio and kind of a smaller setting, kind of a quiet setting. Now it's more hyped and
Yep.
fans are there and they're wearing different jerseys, and you got the commissioner coming out and making announcements. And if the players are showing up,
Yep.
then they get to go on stage and take pictures like the regular, MLB or NBA and NFL draft. So I do like that aspect. I don't want to say that we're necessarily copying them, but
No,
if it works, don't
look, I
fix it.
feel like
Or
if
if it
something
if it ain't broke, don't fix it type
right,
of
if
thing.
something works,
Yeah,
you want to
and you're
make an
trying to draw
event.
more people to it. Why not?
Yeah, make an event. I think the
Yeah.
other sports do that really well. They
Oh yeah.
make things that are not events.
Events.
And
2-3
I
day
think
events.
baseball is now starting to do that, and that's fantastic. And I think I'm with you. I love the
Mhm.
draft being a part of this, a part of All Star Week.
Yeah.
I love it being like it's also that Sunday is kind of your break day, right? So
Hmm.
that again, we're talking about that line of demarcation between the futures game and the celebrity softball game. There is a very clear line between All Star Monday and Tuesday and everything else.
Yeah.
And I feel like the break that you get is the draft.
Hmm.
Like that Sunday is like everybody reset because Monday and
Everybody focus on
Tuesday,
the draft.
yeah,
What I'm saying?
everything
Everybody's focused on
changes.
that.
And so Sunday night is also, I think, a really great party night. Um, and it's also like that line of demarcation. Um, we'll talk in detail. We're going to move on. We'll talk in detail about the actual draft with you
Mhm.
at a future podcast. I will say or ask, are you surprised overall? So the first overall, it seemed like the world was surprised by Eli Willett's
Yeah.
shortstop out of Oklahoma being the first pick overall off the board. I was on record saying Cade Anderson was my pick, the
Mhm.
LSU lefty who I really, really loved. A lot of folks were thinking, I think Ethan Holiday was going to be a top 5 pick, but I think a lot of people just knew him from name recognition, to be honest. Um,
Yeah.
and
He was
Jackson being
ranked top.
Jackson's brother and Matt's son.
Yeah, ranked as a top
Any
prospect.
early surprises or anything again without going too deep into it? Any early surprises or things that stood out to you from the 2025 MLB draft, the actual picks?
Yeah, I think the number one overall pick I think is a little bit surprising. I can't. I think who was the number one pick last year? I don't think it was a high school kid. Um, for the mere fact that they
It
chose
was
a high
Travis
school.
Bazzana,
Okay,
Cleveland. So Travis
that's right.
Bazzana was number one overall
And
out
he's
of
about to be. Yeah,
Oregon
he's
State.
about to be in the big leagues in a
Yep,
short while too.
he's out of Oregon State.
Yeah. So taking a young kid, 17 years old, one of the youngest kids to ever get drafted first overall. I think that's pretty surprising. Nationals obviously see something huge in him. Drafting a shortstop, obviously they don't see him being in the big leagues anytime soon. I would think, but guys are getting to the big leagues really fast nowadays. We'll see how he shoots up in the ranks, but I think that's a pretty surprising thing for me. Taking a 17-year-old first overall, you gotta be pretty confident in his ability to be an everyday big leaguer at that point. So that's pretty surprising. And I thought just from all the hype, I thought that Anderson from LSU was going to be number one or number two, right around there, and then Ethan Holiday was going to fall like number three or number four, which he went number four. But
Right.
I think Eli going first overall to the Nats was pretty surprising to me. But kudos to him.
I think it was surprising to a lot of people. And let's be
Yeah,
clear, MLB draft is different from any other draft in major sports because their pooling money is different.
yeah,
The way that people use their money, the number of chances you get drafted. You get drafted out of high school. You get drafted
mhm.
after your sophomore year
Third
if
year
you're
of college. Yeah,
21, after your junior year, after
yeah,
your senior year. It's just the draft is so much different, and it's so much based off. But this is changing though, because what I mean by that is they are elevating these kids so fast. And I'll give you a quick example, because if we just look a year ago, Lou, we talked about Travis Bazzana who's the number 1 overall pick. He's knocking at the door. Do you know who the number 2 pick was in the draft last year? Here's a fun fact. He's in the major leagues.
I'm about to say, was it Moore?
It was not Moore. It was Chase Burns.
Chase Burns, that's right. That guy's.
But let me tell you this. You just mentioned it. Chase Burns was drafted number 2 overall. He's in the major leagues. Nick Kurtz was drafted 4 overall. Guess where he is?
In the major leagues.
In the major leagues. Christian Moore was drafted 8th overall. These are all first rounders. Do you know where he is?
They all were college picks, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bazan, college. Kurtz, Wake Forest. Burns, Wake Forest. Christian Moore, Tennessee. Oh, I'm not done, though, because the 14th pick is also in the major leagues. Do you know who that is?
No.
He's also a college kid.
Who was the 14th pick?
Cam Smith.
Cam Smith.
So think about how fast these guys, not to mention if you go back 2 years to the Dylan Cruz, Paul Skeens draft, they're all in the major leagues.
All of them, pretty much all of them.
So think about like how this works and how fast they're moving these kids with less development than ever before. Fun fact about last year's draft as well. Giangelo Sinjay was the number 15th overall pick. He played in the Futures game. Kalen Culpepper, who was the 21st overall pick, he played in the Futures game. Like, it's one of those things where I think, did J.J. Weatherholtz play in the Futures game this year? Because I think he's the 7th. Connor Griffin did. Like, they're putting rockets on these kids. Rockets to get them up to the big leagues. And I got the chance to meet Kalen Culpepper. I got the chance to meet his lovely family. He was in the lobby of the hotel that we were in, and he's been on the podcast before. And I was talking to him, and he said, hey, I remember I talked to him at the Home Run Derby after he got drafted last year. Him and Christian Moore together, by the way. It was a great podcast interview. But he said, hey, look, man, I was drafted last year in Dallas. I want to be in the Futures game this year. And he was in the Futures game this year. And he told me at the hotel, mark my words, he said, I want to be in the big leagues next year. So, I mean, he's not saying he wants to be an all-star or anything like that, but he's saying, I want to be in the big leagues next year.
Right. And I mean, the way the game is trending, it's very, very possible for him to do that. But these guys are just, especially these college guys, these college programs are, minor league, not even minor league. I mean, some of these college programs are, have big league facilities. They have big league, I feel like big league style training styles and just the nutrition, all down to the nutrition, their sleep habits. Like, these guys are being treated and molded to be big leaguers in college. So again, these college programs and some of these facilities are like better than some of the big league facilities. So these guys are already talented as far as on the field, but you put that on top of being able to train and be coached as a big leaguer going into the minor leagues. Now you just, you're ahead of the curve a little bit. You've been playing in the SEC. You've been playing in the ACC for the last 3 years. You're getting, used to big league competition and big league pitching and these style pitchers that you're going to face in AA and AAA, because these guys are getting drafted going to high A, and then by the end of the year they're in AA. Some of them are in AAA. So it just proves that they're ready. And I will always say that you need to dominate at least the 2 top level. You need to dominate AA, you need to dominate AAA before you get to big leagues. Now, some guys,
they don't need to organization.
Yeah, so depending on the organization, they shoot straight from AA to the big leagues, depending on injuries and roster spots and all that stuff. But these guys are just they're molded to be ready to be in the big leagues once they're drafted. Out of some of these top college programs. So kudos to these programs and kudos to these kids for being able to maybe be around, because I know some of these guys train with big leaguers in the offseason. And they train around big leaguers, and they're able to get information from a lot of guys that are in the big leagues having success now. So when they get drafted again, they just already had that mindset. I think a lot of it is mental and having that mindset of like, I'm a big leaguer. When I get drafted, I'm a big leaguer. Now it's like, oh, I'm going to go to the minor leagues. No, I'm a minor league. It's like, nah, I'm at heart, in my mind, I'm a big leaguer. Now I need to develop my skills and be able to sustain my skills and sustain my ability to stay up there. But once you get up there, you're seeing these guys be able to get up there, and they're not scared of the bright lights. Cam Smith, big example of that, having a great year, taking over for Kyle Tucker out there in right field. So, I mean, again, kudos to these kids and these programs for being able to make sure these guys are ready when they get drafted.
Absolutely. Could not
Mm-hmm.
agree more. Lou, we're going to have to end it here today. Man, Atlanta owes us nothing. I will say that.
They owe
Atlanta
us nothing. They don't owe me nothing. I was only there for 2 days.
Atlanta owes us nothing. I was there for what felt like forever. But it was an awesome experience. Next year, the All-Star Games in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
It's already been announced. Man, I don't know what to say. Not Veteran Stadium. What is it? Veteran Stadium.
Citizen Bank, bro. The bank.
Citizen Bank, which I've been to. It's a phenomenal setting.
The bank.
I know MLB will put on another amazing show. I'm trying to think.
That All-Star Village is going to be insane because of just the space.
Yeah, like because it's right across the street. They will have so very much like a lot of these new complexes. Atlanta had the Battery, but you know how Seattle had the baseball stadium right next to the football stadium, and the same thing in Dallas with the baseball stadium right next to Texas Stadium.
Yeah,
Philly has that. They have
they have all three.
Where the Sixers play. I'm sure that's where FanFest will be, right by Citizen Bank Park, right by they're all right there. So that will make things.
To work with.
Yeah, hopefully there will not be half an hour drives everywhere, no matter where you're going.
Philly's traffic too.
But I mean, again, I'm assuming, right? Don't you assume that where the Eagles play, like they're all right there, like the Sixers,
everything is in the same.
Yeah. So I'm assuming it's going to be walkable. Like everything will be walkable.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying like for hotel purposes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where guys are staying, you're gonna have to drive, but like everything should be right there, and then you go parties all over the city. So, we'll see, but it's gonna be fun. Like I said, they're gonna have a lot of room to work with that All-Star Village. So I'm interested to see what that's gonna look like. But yeah, so at the bank, man, it's gonna be a fun time. Really good time.
Last thing I want to because I always want to acknowledge the people that are here following on us live and asking questions. There is one question. We'll leave it with this. Being a first round pick, Lou, major league teams want their top picks in the big leagues quicker now. Do you like this trend, or do you think they need more time in the minors?
I'm gonna go with my personal experience. I needed more time in the minors just because I was in high school. I got drafted out of high school. I didn't really know what I was doing. I had the talent, I had the raw ability to get drafted and be able to hit for power. I had to learn how to hit though. I had to learn you have to learn how to be a big leaguer, and you have to learn how to be a pro baseball player. You're not just in high school playing with your buddies anymore. This is your job. This is all that you're consumed with during the season and the off season. So I think a lot of these kids do need more time, especially out of high school. The college guys, like I said before, are a little bit more advanced just because of the programs that they're in and the coaching staffs and the training staffs and the nutrition. They got nutritionists and stuff and all these other things that they have access to in college. So these guys might be a little bit more ready when they get drafted, like going straight to Double-A, and then at the end of the year, they're in the big leagues. But as a high school draft pick, I think you need a little bit more time to develop. You need a little bit more time, like this kid. Eli, he's 17 years old. He's not even done growing yet. So he's going to go through 3-4 more years of like growing into his body and being able to get stronger, get faster, get bigger, and being able to adjust to how his body's going to grow. And, being the number 1 overall pick, scouts, the Nats obviously see that this kid has the potential to be a superstar or be a star in the league. You don't get drafted number 1 overall without that potential on you. But as a high school kid, I do believe that you do need more time. Now, if you're going through all the ranks and you're dominating, like I said, I think you really need to dominate every level before you get to the big leagues. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to dominate the big leagues because it's just such a huge gap between Double-A or Triple-A to the big leagues. But I do think as a first round pick or as any round pick, high school kid does need a little bit more time to develop.
Interesting. I like it. I do think that it's trending. Like we talked about, all of the guys that were drafted last year that are in the majors now, right now, and all of them went to college. They're a little bit more in their grown men strength.
Yeah.
They've had a lot of experience playing at top college programs. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. I'm interested to see the last, like, how fast the high school kids really popped up. I'm assuming 2 years ago, Jackson Holiday, he seems to now be an everyday major leaguer
Hmm.
with the O's organization.
But you have
There's
to be able to. I don't mean to cut you off, but you
yeah,
have to be able to get to the big. You have to be with an organization, and you have to let these kids fail at the big league level. You
right,
can't. They did send him down.
yeah,
Like they did with Christian Campbell, but he was a college kid. But
yep.
they did send Jackson Holiday down, but he figured it out, got back up to the big leagues, got his feet under him, and now he's rolling. But you have to, if you're going to rush a kid up to the big leagues, you got to be able to deal with the failures that come with it. Now he might go up there and dominate, and that's kind of once in a blue moon type of talent, but they're going to
And
go
again,
through
it's
growing
it's
pains.
it's baseball, so
Yeah, it's
dominating
baseball.
1 year doesn't necessarily mean you're going to dominate for a longer time period of time.
Exactly.
Um, we're looking at let's hope he has a much better second half.
Hmm.
But Michael Harris was rookie of the year. Michael
Yeah,
Harris had a tough first half of the season,
yeah,
especially at the plate.
yeah.
So it's like, you know, we got to. Baseball is just hard, man. Just
It's
a
tough,
hard game.
man. It's a long grind, and these guys are good. These guys are in the big leagues for a reason. These pitchers are in the big leagues for a reason. They know how to pitch and they throw hard, and
Yep.
everything's moving every which way. They got every type of technology to tell them how to get you out. So eventually, Michael Harris was going to go through struggles, and now it's highlighted just because he got a whole bunch of money. So everybody thinks he should be at that all-star level at all times, but it just doesn't work like that. And
No.
that you have to be able, now the Braves have to be able to stick by their guy and be able to work with him and be able to work. Now they're trying to enter a pennant race and trying to get in the wild card at the end of this year, but you got to be able to let him struggle and go through these struggles that he hasn't had a chance to struggle in the big leagues yet, and it was eventually going to happen. So you have to be able to let this guy struggle like the Orioles did with Jackson Holiday. You got to be patient. If you're going to rush the kid up to the big leagues, you can't be like, oh man, why aren't you performing? It's like, dude, I got drafted out of high school. I was just eating in the cafeteria in high school, 2 years ago, man. I don't know what's going on right now. I just know my dad was in the big leagues, and he's taught me everything I know. He has the mindset, maybe, in the mentality, and obviously the physical ability to play up there, but it's different, man. Like I said, baseball's hard, especially when you get up there every day,
Baseball's
man. They got
hard.
the book on you from the first pitch you swing at, first at bat. They got the book on you. It's out. It's ready to go. So these teams have to be a little bit more patient with the high school guys to let them fail up there.
Last thing I'll say, and again, I apologize because we do have to get you out of here. But what you were saying reminded me of a conversation I did have with the legend Ken Griffey Jr. And he was
Mm,
talking about kids today, young people today, um, and playing the game. He was like, they don't have the knowledge for the game
mm,
that generations past. Now, and again, it could sound a little bit old man get off my lawn-ish type, but he used a really good example. He goes, hitter comes up. So he's like, it's the first inning, it's the second inning. Hitter comes up. He's like, what do you see the center fielder doing? What do you see the shortstop doing? They're either
mm.
looking at their wrist or looking inside their hat for this card to
Yeah.
know the tendencies of these hitters. Then Ken Griffey Jr. proceeds to tell me random lineup of the Athletics back in 90 whatever 4. And he's
Yeah.
like, you're leading off with Ricky Henderson and then Mike Bordick and then what? He's like, I remember all of them right now and can tell you what their tendencies are. And he's like, I don't
Mm.
have to look at any card. And he was just like, it's just like one example of like, do we
Taking
think
the instincts out of the game. Yeah.
yeah, it was like what like it was just one really small example about what he was saying. It was like, how do you not know 9 to 10? He's like, you're gonna face 9, you may face 12 in your defensive lineup. How do you not know what they're gonna do?
Yeah.
It was like unreal to him.
That's a great example. That's actually a really, really good point because you got to be paying attention to the game and know these guys' tendencies when you get up there, especially on who's pitching, what his tendencies are, what the dynamic of the catcher and the pitcher, what they like to do, what they like to work off of, who's hitting, what's his tendency, does he hit well off this guy? Do I need to back up? Do I need to give him
Right.
some? Do I need to scoot in? Like, where's the wind playing? Like, there's a lot of tendencies, and like you said, a lot. I'm a victim of it. Give me a card, tell me where to play. And the coach is like, listen, man, if we're wrong, we're wrong. It's not on you. If we're in the wrong spots, it's not on you. I'm like, listen, man, can I play where I think he's gonna hit this ball? And if I'm wrong, it's on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, just put it on me. But at the same time, like, I can see this guy is late. I'm not gonna play him pull. You know what I'm saying? Even with 2 strikes, like sometimes some guys you play with 2 strikes, you play him to pull. It's like, but this guy's throwing 100. Like, I'm gonna shade him over to the opposite field. So you at the same time, the coaches have to be able to let these guys let their instincts take over and be like, all right, let's pay attention to the game. This guy's late, or this guy's trying to pull everything. Let's play him pull. Let's play him in the gap. Let's play him in. Let's play him back. Instead of always like looking at a card. Okay, 5 steps to the left. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, 5 steps in. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
all right, cool.
great.
I'm in the right spot. So you gotta let the instincts kind of take over in a sense. So that is a really good point by one of the best center fielders to ever play the game. So,
All right, Lou, we're gonna leave it there.
all
We're
right.
gonna leave it here. Another fantastic podcast featuring the one and only Lewis Brinson. I got to thank our partners one more time. We talked about them earlier, so I'll lead with them. Minority Prospects. Shout out to them. The Players Alliance, Numbers Game Scorecards, Rebellion Harvest, Sunflower Seeds, Red, Black, and Green Baseball. Thank you so much. Please, if you like this episode, subscribe anywhere podcasts are streaming. Rate us 5 stars. And let's keep this thing going. Huge shout out to everyone I saw between Thursday and Monday that stopped, said hello, said they listened to the podcast. It was more people than I could count. And I remember, being home and telling my sister just a little while ago earlier today that it's right at this point, Lou, you as a player, you're probably used to this. I will never get used to it. I will never get used to a string. I'm thinking they like left their cell phone, they dropped something. I've got popcorn behind me. I don't know. But they, when they stop and say that they listen to the podcast or they follow on Instagram and they're, they took a picture or something like that. I took more pictures than I've ever taken in my life this weekend with people I didn't know. So I think that was a pretty fun experience, and I'll try not to look. One of these days, it might get me into one of those parties, Lou.
I'm like, man, don't get a too big of a head, man. All
right, exactly. You gotta it doesn't happen to me.
Let's keep it humble, but no, that's awesome, man.
This does not happen to me at all.
You're doing a great job. You're doing it for a cause, and I'm happy for you. And that's just a testament to what you built and where the podcast is going, man. So hats off to you and what you guys are doing and what we're doing with the Black Baseball Mixtape and many more successes and parties.
Yeah, man, it wouldn't happen without people. Wouldn't happen without people like you and all of our wonderful partners. Last thing, I did learn how to throw a proper 4-seam fastball thanks to Ejac and Marvin Freeman this weekend.
Okay.
So we will talk about Cross Checkers, the new Players Alliance initiative, on our next time together. But at Cross Checkers, they taught me how to throw a proper 4-seam fastball. So I now know that. I don't know what I'll do with that information, but I know how to do it.
Teach your son.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,